Good evening, and welcome back to the Poe Museum. I'm just here looking for a few good deals on Edgar Allan Poe coffee, or Edgar and Pluto calendars, or Poe candles, or how about a Edgar Allan Poe pair of socks? Well, some people really do have a knack for finding the best deals. They can track down a Leonardo da Vinci in a thrift store. I might not be one of those people, but fortunately, a few of them had contributed some fabulous artifacts to the Poe Museum. You'll hear a few of their stories on tonight's installment of the Curator's Crypt. Now you might remember this painting from a previous video. And you might also recall that it was purchased at a Texas estate sale for just $2 by a guy who had no idea who was in the picture. Fortunately for us, when he got back home, he took a picture of it, did a reverse image search, and found out that the Poe Museum had a picture of the same guy. It was Poe's first boss, Thomas Willis White, the owner of the Southern Literary Messenger. So the guy in Texas sent us the painting, and we found out that our picture was a copy of his picture. And doing a little bit more research, we found out that our painting was given to the Poe Museum back in 1923 by Mr. White's great-granddaughter, who lived in Texas. And the estate sale where this guy bought the painting was her son-in-law's estate sale. He lived to be 99 years old. But wait, there's more. Based on White family tradition and on stylistic grounds, this painting is believed to have been painted by Thomas Sully, one of Poe's favorite artists, and the guy who painted that picture of Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill. Now take a look at this piece. This is a bronze medallion portrait of Poe sculpted in 1909 for the Grolier Club in New York City in honor of Poe's centennial. The artist was Edith Whitman Burroughs. She had studied in France, come to the United States. In 1907, she won the Shaw Memorial Prize from the National Academy of Design. In 1913, she was in the famous Armory show, the one that brought modern art to the United States. Then in 1915, she designed 2 fountains for the Panama Pacific International Exposition in San Francisco. Unfortunately, she died the following year, just age 44. Her work has since entered some pretty prestigious collections, including the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and even more importantly, the Edgar Allan Poe Museum. Only 277 copies of this medallion were cast, and you can occasionally find them for sale online. But a Poe fan down in Tennessee found this in an antique store where it was selling for just $20. So naturally, he snatched it up and sent it down here to the Poe Museum where it could be enjoyed by everyone. That brings us to our next phenomenal find. This little Edgar Allan Poe letter. Barely a scrap of paper. It looks like it was one of the blank end pages of a book that Poe just ripped out. And he never mailed it. There's no postmark in the back. He was in too much of a hurry for that. He had it hand delivered by his mother-in-law. It says so right here. Now, Poe's busy writing. He's living up in the Bronx at the time, so he had her take a train about 15 miles into the city. Then she caught an omnibus across town to get to the offices of the Democratic Review to drop off a manuscript and pick up some other one before the paper went to press. And then the thing just dropped off the face of the earth. This letter was forgotten about. It wasn't included in any of the anthologies of Poe's letters. People forgot it even existed. Then in the 1980s, a pastor went to a Texas yard sale where he bought this along with some Andrew Jackson letters for, get this, $5. That's about $12.85 in today's money, but still a phenomenal deal. And what did he do with this treasure? He almost immediately gave it away. He knew one of his parishioners loved poetry, so he gave it to her. She put it in a folder, and then during a move, she lost it. And over the years forgot about it until 20 years later when she was making another move. That folder fell out of a box. And she picked up the letter. She said she was trembling. Almost had a heart attack when she realized what she'd had all those years. An authentic Edgar Allan Poe letter. So she called the Poe Museum. And naturally, once it got to the Poe Museum, we had it authenticated. And it's been here ever since. And in case you're wondering, yes, it's in the latest edition of Poe's letters. People have accepted this as authentic. A really incredible find. And my favorite part about it is right here, he refers to his mother-in-law as Mrs. C, long before the Fonz ever did on Happy Days. Hey! Now, don't you wish you had that kind of luck? Well, as lucky as these bargain hunters have been, the Poe Museum is even more fortunate that they were generous enough to share their treasures with the public. Well, if you're looking for a good deal, look no farther than the Poe Museum's online store at shop.poemuseum.org. And if you'd like to help support the Poe Museum and help us care for some of these important artifacts, why not become a patron at patreon.com/PoeMuseum. Until next time, thanks for joining us, and as your reward, here is some gratuitous footage of the Poe Museum's cats.